We fight.
Basically what I want to do with this shed is be able to come out here in the wintertime. As you can see, I'm all kind of geared up with warm weather gear. I told you guys I wanted to build this shed and do a shed build, and I'm going to. Obviously I've started it, but the reality is the weather all of a sudden just flipped. It just switched to what I would call winter. So it got cold like within a day. We had like this summer weather for months and like never going to end, and then all of a sudden it's like 3 days ago it gets super cold. So, and also the light, you know, I have to do this after work, so it's getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier. So what I'm going to do here is finish up the deck. I have all the sheeting that I need, and I'm going to go grab that in a second. But what I did here basically is I took this 2x6 deck. These are just pressure treated, you know, lumber you can get at Home Depot or whatever. And then I put 2-inch rigid foam in between that. And the reason is because I want to be able to come out here when it's cold in the winter, and my plan is to be able to power, you know, to run power to this thing and make it like a little workshop, studio, shed kind of deal. So I want it to be insulated. The one thing I regret about the cabin build, if you guys have been following this channel over the last decade or so, the cabin build, which still exists, I'm going to go up there tomorrow. The one thing I regret about the cabin build is not putting an insulated floor in it, and because everything else is insulated, but the floor is always cold, and that's the worst thing to have on your feet. So this one, I'm going to do it as good as I can. Some people have put standard fiberglass insulation in their floor like this, but I don't want to do that. One reason is because I may have to let this thing sit over the winter and wait till spring to finish this. Usually we get a couple feet of snow in here all of a sudden, you know, then you either shovel it out or try to keep going. But the rigid foam is not going to get moisture in there. You know, if water gets into it, it's not going to hurt it too. It's not going to do anything to that. It may get into the plywood underneath a little bit, but eventually that'll dry out. I have this whole thing sitting up a couple inches on pavers, so there's going to be circulation going underneath it, drying it out all the time, and so I'm not too worried about that. But if I had fiberglass insulation, it would just, you know, I don't even know if it would ever dry out. So this is resistant to rot, bugs, everything. So that's why I went with this. A little bit more expensive, maybe not as good R value, but it's something, and I think it's going to work fine. So right now I'm going to go grab the sheeting, and I think I'm going to start laying it out and seeing how that works. So it should be pretty square. I squared it all up yesterday, and I think we're ready. So I'm pretty excited. I want to get that sheeting out of the garage so we can park a car in there since it is getting colder. So I'm going to go grab that and get on it. I'm running out of daylight. I want to try to get the rest of the floor done, or at least the sheeting put on there. Maybe not all screwed down, but I just have to do a 2-foot strip along the back, and then I'm good to go. Everything else seems to be dialed in, super square. I'm pretty happy. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna go cut that down and put that on here. If there's still light, I'll turn the camera on, but it's getting dark pretty quick, so I'm gonna try to get this done before daylight ends. All right, time to call it a day.